G'day and welcome back to Camper. Uluru is not a place to be buying large amounts of diesel, but it's better than Culgara, which is better than Mount Dare. And after Mount Dare, well, you've got bigger things to worry about than the price of fuel, like where to get it. So let's just fill up, flash the plastic and get on with it.
Let's go to the desert.
In the famous words of John Williamson, as we depart Yulara this morning, it is in fact raining on the rock. Such a sight to see as we make our way towards our Simpson Desert departure point.
We're heading for Dalhousie Springs and also Mount Dare, our final two stops as far as civilization goes before we enter the Simpson Desert proper. So an exciting day ahead.
We're heading back the way we came to Curtin Springs and around the back of Mount Connor, where for a moment we discover great mobile phone reception and a chance to play with some old cars. This looks like an old Kingswood, circa 1973, and the boys are having a bit of fun with it while calls to loved ones and emails to work are made.
So it looks like all we need some oil in there, Scotty.
Yeah, and a battery, mate.
Oh, and a battery?
Yep, and we'll be right.
We'll be right to get going.
A couple more hours drive and it's time for smoko and a chance to stretch the legs.
2, 3, 2, 1, go. Back in the motorama car!
Always a good idea to invest in some HEMA maps or something similar when you're travelling out here because the signage ain't all that good.
Culgara is a roadhouse on the SANT border that will be known to many.
So we're at Culgara now, which is virtually on the South Australian Northern Territory border, and from here we're going to head due east after Mount Dare into the Simpson Desert. Now the issue is going to be fuel, of course. I don't have a long range tank in this truck. It in fact only carries 130 litres, so what I've done is I've grabbed a couple of jerry cans and I'm going to fill them up and take them along with us. We need to travel roughly 1,000 kilometres without fuel, so I think I'll have enough, but the boys have certainly got some extra on board should we have an issue. Now the other thing about coming out here and buying lots of diesel is the price. Take a look. Hey, I do not want to hear you whinging about fuel prices in Brisbane anymore.
This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt big time.
At $2 a litre. Your $400 fuel.
154 litres at $308.
I can't wait to fill mine up.
Welcome to the Outback, $2 a litre.
It's here that we'll be meeting ARB lensman Michael Ellum, who'll be joining us for the rest of the trip. Michael and his wife Gabby hail from Sydney and will also be attending the conference in Birdsville. So they're tagging along to get some pics for ARB of the journey and also doing a shakedown of this beast, Michael's new toy, the Mighty 79.
Yeah. Mate, this is the beast. Tell us a bit about it.
It's been in the build for 18 months, or planning stages of 18 months worth of planning. But finally it's here.
It's come together beautifully.
Yeah, the guys put it together pretty quick actually. Yeah.
What's the plan for you over the course of the next week?
Take photos, a bit of filming, chill out. make sure this car gets across to Burnsville. This is its shakedown trip.
Yeah, right.
It hasn't been off-road yet, so let's see how we go.
With our tanks and tummies full, it's time to roll out of Culgara and head towards a point on the Australian map that will have us all feeling very centred.
Well, we're on the road to Fink and we see a sign, and how can you pass up a Kodak moment like this? An opportunity 12 kilometres off the road to get a photo taken at the geographical centre of our great nation, Australia. Many people have been to Cape York, many people have been to the geographical centre of Queensland. I've never done this. I think it's going to be great. So we'll go in and take a look at what's there, and I'm sure a few photos will be taken. But here you go. This is called the Lambert Centre. It's named in honour of Dr. Bruce Philip Lambert. This is the geographical dead centre of the continent. Here we are.
Definitely worth the 12-kilometre detour off the highway for a photo and a celebratory drink. We continue to put the kilometres beneath us on bulldust-filled gravel roads till we roll into the desert town of Fink, the turnaround point and overnight stop for the annual Fink Desert Race. Mark Lacey in fact owns a trophy truck and competed in the Fink race a couple of years back.
So the finish line for the first day of the Fink race from Alice Springs down to Fink is just here, and Mark knows a little more about this than most because he's actually competed in the race before. Show us that picture that you're just showing me on your phone. So what is this?
So that's our truck. We came over the jump here.
Yeah.
So you leave from Alice on the first day.
Yeah.
It's about 210 k's run through some really ugly whoops, and I must say it's very interesting driving it in a Toyota in relation to driving it in a trophy truck. But yeah, so that's just us coming across this finish line here in 16.
So what are sort of some of the speeds that you're hitting?
So I think we got up to about 180 odd on the fast stuff, but there's a lot of 60s and 80s and 120s and 160s, so it all depends on the terrain. But yeah, there's a lot of whoops, and the whoops are just constant whoops, and they vary from 6 inches deep to 2 feet deep.
So desert racing in a straight line where you've got trees all around you and stuff, it is quite a dangerous sport, isn't it, really?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, you see cars rolled over and they're caught on fire, and yeah, you get to see it all on this track.
And what makes the Fink race so special?
I think it's the only one of its kind that's like it. I mean, they get something like 500 or 600 bike entries.
Yeah.
I think the year I did it, when 16, was 140 vehicle entries. It's huge. It's got a hell of a following.
And I suppose Fink's a bit different today to what it was when you were here in 2016 when the race was on.
Yeah,
there's it's a ghost town, isn't it?
Unbelievable, driving through the town of Fink. Yeah. But no, this is a real hive of activity. There's people everywhere. There's B-doubles parked up. There's service trucks. There's helicopters in the air.
Wow.
It's an amazing buzz. If you haven't done Fink, you've got to come and stand on the sideline and view the trucks and the bikes going past. It is amazing.
Fink has a real sense of isolation about it, and there's a feeling within the crew that we're leaving the rest of the world far behind as we roll into Mount Dare, the last outpost, literally on the western edge of the Simpson. Here we'll fuel up and camp overnight before heading into the Never Never. The Mount Ayr Hotel is a bit of a crossroad for travellers venturing out this way. 10 kilometres south of the Northern Territory border, you can get all you'll require here. The accommodation and meals are great. It's a perfect place to stop and catch your breath. Sandra and Graham Scott are the owners of the Mount Ayr Hotel. They love its remoteness, but also the opportunity to meet new people on an almost daily basis.
How isolated is this place? Just give people some scope of how far away we are from the real world.
Our shopping centre is Alice Springs, which is 500 odd kilometres away.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Is this the most remote outpost in the country?
No, I think we've heard figures that we're probably about second or third remote pub. But, you know, that's only hearsay, but we're certainly one of the more remote ones.
Yeah, but for a remote location, you certainly put on a good feed. I mean, this place is amazing. You can watch, you can probably hear the football behind me, and the accommodation's great as well.
Oh, that's good. I'm pleased you like it.
Yeah, no, we're having a really good time, and so what things do people need to know to come into this region as travellers? You need to be fairly aware of what's going on in the
main thing is just do some research.
Yeah.
Read up, have a look at our website, just find out about the Outback, find out what you should take, you know, by way of provisions, and make sure your car's properly prepared. Just generally prepare. We get too many cases of people coming out here in vehicles that aren't properly prepared, and they aren't properly prepared, they don't understand what's going on, and then they get into trouble. So if you're prepared, it's not a problem.
A couple more beers and a last look at civilisation as tomorrow morning we take off for the desert. Join us on the next episode of Camper for all the action. The crew at ARB can get you and your Fulby desert ready. Head to ARB for all the details.